In the bottom right, playing as the red Caesar, we have TYM up against m0h1nder playing Sedge in the orange up at the top left.
Ooh, TYMKey versus m0h1nder, a classic, two veterans of the scene.
Yeah. And I'm very curious to see how Caesar is going to perform here because Caesar's very strong, but you have to know how to play Caesar, and Caesar does have some big weaknesses as well, which sure you can play around them effectively if you know how to keep your army alive, but Caesar Groove does literally nothing if he doesn't have the units around.
I mean, you could say the same for Sedge.
To some degree, but if there's a big difference between Caesar only works with very specific units and you can kill those off, whereas Sedge, if you have any units that can do damage, then you can get something off of his groove.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's fair. Yeah.
Caesar's high is much higher, I think, especially because it's a bit of a faster charge. But Sedge is like a bit more consistent with their groove, and also they can hold on to it after using it as well, which is a big difference.
Yeah, but they require a pretty similar game state to get their max value, I think.
True.
Like they both want some late kind of pike archer thing. Like they needed to be a late game, but not exactly a golem witch dragon late game. More of a pike archer late game.
Yeah, and we're seeing something different from the last match we commentated, where it was the player in the top left position, player 2, that captured both lumber mills. In this, we're seeing the reverse. We're seeing player 1 actually able to get both lumber mills.
Yeah,
The bar
and I
joink.
think the yoink is very strong. Yoinking, if you don't lose anything for it. Oh, is TYMKey doing my opening? No, not exactly. But I do something very similar. We haven't seen it yet. Was TYMKey actually first? No, it's not the same. So, but I tried to join too, and it works very well for me.
TYM being
Ooh.
very respectful over on this right side, doesn't want to go for the fortified.
Well, I guess he has secured his own. Sedge isn't going for it, so he's trying to play more towards the center and the lumber mills.
Yeah, and I mean, there was a night crit set up defensively as well, so
Yeah.
while there wasn't, like a warship crit or anything like that, it was, like, a night crit's still a serious threat, especially if you're not at full health.
Yeah, it's not the scariest, but you'd rather not take it if there's a better option, right?
Yeah, and, just sitting back, healing up to full, I think is a perfectly valid choice. Because, yeah, Caesar's power spike comes in not that long from now, actually. Once Groove is up, when you can start threatening a lot more. He's fine sitting back and waiting for a couple more turns to get into, like, the position he wants to.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But also, an interesting thing is the groove charge very fast. The groove charge very very fast in this map. Like, can we take a look at Caesar?
Caesar's on, like, 80 something, I think. Let's have a look. 89. Okay, so very close.
So very close to tier 1 and halfway there, almost halfway there for tier 2. But his units, he's not even close to the units he needs to get a very strong tier 2 of. So, like, this might be a bit of a double-edged sword for Caesar. On one hand, Groove charges very fast. On the other hand, maybe he doesn't get the desired game state in time to Groove. And if that happens, then Sedge, who doesn't have a strict of a need of the exact game state he loves to get good Groove value, might pull ahead if Sedge is able to get Groove before Caesar uses his.
While all that was going on, there's been a big repositioning happening, and we're seeing Caesar much more aggressively placed. He's near a lot more of his units. Is actually going to hit those swords for no retaliation. So
Yeah, he was able to maneuver his army enough to defend his strikes, but it's still not a huge value. It's just like the little things you get a little bit for free, and that's always good.
Yeah.
But now Sedge has also moved to defend against further pressure, so we might see Caesar retreat here. So it's something very minor happened.
Yeah, Caesar's just
Of
gonna
course,
back
this
up a little.
is because both players expected each other. Otherwise, this might have been game for either side.
Yeah, they're both just like trading little hits. I think the big thing that's happening on this map anyway is that the naval fronts force one player or the other to do something, because if land kind of stalls out a bit, like the naval fronts really force the issue.
Yeah, I guess this is really cool design. It's very hard to completely stall the map out when there is also naval.
And we're not seeing either
Ooh,
player really go for like archers defensively, so
we're almost seeing like Sedge move completely away from the naval front. There is not much to contest those riverboats and this harpoon ship, so they're gonna be able to do their thing. On the other hand, Caesar only has some swords there, so it's not like he's putting up the greatest defense.
true, but I guess even just having a little bit is still fairly meaningful.
Yeah, that's true.
And
There's also less naval on M0h1nder's side, whereas TYMKey has
double.
invested very heavily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 harpoon, 2 riverboat, so
I think you need the second riverboat to justify the harpoon. Otherwise, a single riverboat will just not be able to even touch villages that are too high health.
I'm very
Without
curious
damaging it.
about. He hit the village with a very weak sword. Oh, okay, now he's going for the capture. Oh, I guess he just wanted to maximize as many hits as he could.
Ooh, and also the frog place again.
So he
We
just,
get to see some nice.
I think this is a
frog
ploy to
move.
get groove, yes. Let's see. Let's Sedge with groove there.
Ooh, but it's only tier 1, right?
Yeah.
It's still nice to have. You can start fighting with it.
Yeah, and your opponent has to respect it, and that's like, yeah, one of the bigger factors for a lot of grooves is now everything TYMKey does has to make sure that he can't just get Sedge chained in return for it.
And M0h1nder has posted very aggressively here. So TYMKey needs to show some respect for it. Maybe move to the other side of the map. Or he might try to match it, which I don't think he's really in a position to do. Yeah, so he's moving to the other side of the map, taking the other lumber mill, and he will lose his next turn. So he did cut the trees. A very principled, let's say, careful move by TYMKey. So I'm guessing he's gonna pull the rest of his units away from the range of the opposing army. Yeah.
And we are once again seeing players. I really like this player starting to use mages to cover naval fronts. So,
There's also like 2 harpoons there, which is...
oh, but there's 2 dragons.
Ooh, second dragon build. Yeah.
Yeah, so he has to move the mage back to defend it, but it's really nice positioning overall. So the dragons now cannot go in on those harpoons without taking a lot of damage for it.
I mean, wait, can any dragon reach the second harpoon?
I think the one at the bottom can. Or maybe
I
it's just
think-
slightly too far out of range.
Can't for 1 tile, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
1,
yeah.
2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's 4 diagonally. Because it's 8, so it's exactly off by 1.
Okay, so,
So
Render's
that's
just
what
like,
time.
Render's just like, you know what, I'm just gonna put these in the center where they do, I guess they're like at their best when they're in the middle.
Oh, and now the armies are getting really big, and this is what Caesar and Sedge wants. So we see the knight going in. So he's... Oh, whoa, the dragon gets killed. That's really big. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge pickup. Especially with, or I guess people who are coming in who may not be as familiar with Wargroove 2. Witches are cheaper now as well. So not
And
only
they
do they
one-shot
one-shot...
dragons.
They one-shot dragons and they cost a bit less, so... There's even, it's a
But-
really good trade to trade a witch for a dragon most of the time.
But if you also lose a knight, it stops being as good. So I think TYMKey still needs to attack here.
Yeah,
They
but
still have tier 2?
not yeah, I don't think. But I mean, the knight also killed something, so
It was just a sword. I guess sword plus dragon is very similar in value to uh, witch plus knight. So I guess you could say it's a bit of an even trade.
yeah.
But now everything is postured aggressively. So if you try to pick those units up, you might get Caesar tier 2. Is he gonna get it next turn? Can we check?
And there are 2 rifles behind this army. I guess one of them's a bit out of position, but there is 1 rifle ready to fire. So, yeah, m0h1nder has to get like very good value out of the fight here. And I don't think he has tier 2 groove yet. I don't know if he's even that close.
Yeah, Sedge shouldn't have it yet, but Caesar might. I think Caesar is gonna get it next turn. So while m0h1nder is picking up a lot of units this turn, and high value units, right?
Yeah.
He picked up a witch, 2 harpies, and he's gonna pick up a knight too. So
And
it's
Sedge is
gonna
on
be
135, so
yeah, it's gonna be great damage. But he's going to put his army in Caesar's range, and he's going to eat a tier 2, and that could lose the game. So he needs to be very careful with his positioning this turn. And I don't know how careful he can be. Like, the game might have been over last turn in that those units got huge value and then became poisoned by the Caesar tier 2. And now that you've picked them up, maybe your army is in jeopardy. Frog pulling the pikes. Oh, so m0h1nder does recognize that Caesar might get tier 2 and does not let his whole army perish for it. So maybe that's fine. There are some things TYMKey is gonna be able to pick up, but no, he's not gonna be able to pick up the army.
ooh, loses this harpy. I think that was a fresh buy as well, so that was unfortunate. It's a shot with the rifle, so
Oh, the villas, the water villas got cleared and then the harpoon went through.
yeah.
So it looked like the harpoon couldn't reach, but it could because, you know, you break the village first. I've eaten a loss to the same thing before.
I think a lot of people have. It's one of those classic things of, well, I guess the other one is like you think you're safe and then the opponent moves a unit out of the way and like the ranged unit moves into that previous position, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, good night crit on the barge. Are we gonna see Caesar groove this turn? I don't think so. I think he's just gonna, I mean, the issue Caesar has right now is, sure, he's got a lot of units that combo well with Caesar.
That's tier 2.
Is it
That's
tier
tier
2?
two,
Oh, actually, yeah, that positioning, yeah. Oh, with the balloon and everything.
So let's see what happens. I thought m0h1nder moved far enough away, but all those units get massive bonus move.
Oh,
Look at
right,
this.
yeah, it's what, +2 movement?
Yes, it is +2 movement.
Oh, so those spears can, I mean, they
Yep.
didn't skip lag day, we'll put it that way.
and this mage is gonna reach the dragon, right?
Oh, wow, yeah, it is.
Yeah. And so this is why we rate Caesar as a top tier CO above Sedge, who is high tier. Because he gets to do this even if you retreat your whole army.
Yep.
And that's crazy.
5 movement spears after moving, so they get a hell of a leapfrog right there.
But he needs to make sure to get a huge advantage with it. Because now he has nothing left. He burned his groove. And Sedge is gonna start killing everything with his very soon. So if he's not in a winning position now, he might get grinded out long term.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like the other thing is while this is going on, the tower is locked, so
Yeah,
and it is actually going to go down. So TYMKey is in a very advantageous position in that front because now all of a sudden there's like no threat of air. They have quite a large lead in economy just because like you look at these water village differences. Well, I guess it's not that big, but there's definitely some advantage there.
Yeah, and it's not like he's playing merciful now. He probably won't get another tier 2, but he will very likely soon get another tier 1. And the tier 1 is worse than the tier 2, obviously, but it can still do work.
Oh yeah, because yeah, like when you pop your groove, you're gonna get a lot of like unit kills and unit fights, among other things. So yeah, he's on 42% already.
But a lot of his spears are dying, and he needs those.
Very true.
And the knight is gone.
Very interesting frog reposition play there, but I mean it works, right? Like
Might as well. It's not like he had anything better to do with a frog, right?
yeah, but I mean it's a funny thing to pull an opponent's unit onto a mountain to then kill it with your own. But I mean, yeah, that's the way it goes. Well, that's the way it goes sometimes. M0h1nder gets his own rifle out, so you know Caesar's behind all of this. Like there is 2 rifles, so has to be wary about like winning this fight and also keeping an eye out to make sure they don't die to counterattack damage. Thankfully, one of the rifles isn't loaded right now, so
So, what's Sedge at, groove wise?
Sedge is at 182. So
So, the question here is the game decided yet? I don't think Caesar got enough out of his tier 2. I think he could have gotten a lot more.
yeah, I think the main thing is that Caesar's winning on the left side, like on that
Yeah.
seafront.
It was a bit premature, the tier 2 groove.
Maybe,
Like
but
it looked really cool, but other times I've seen it, you don't have an army after it pops. Like if you force Sedge to group close to you before doing it, and all your units attack and then also attack again with like a full tier 2 thing or something. Well, not all of them, or at least like half of them get 2 attacks and the others just get the full boosted movement and stuff. You can clear whole armies. And this
Yeah.
isn't what happened this time.
but
Um,
I think he's gotten enough of an advantage that he's still like in the winning position. But you're right, like M0h1nder can definitely like come back from this. I think it's.
I'm
like,
not saying TYMKey will lose because he was ahead in other ways. I'm just saying maybe this wasn't the best tier 2. Like if he wasn't winning the naval so hard, this tier 2 might have lost him the game because it was premature.
Yeah.
But because he's so far ahead in the naval, he'll probably win anyway. But Sedge is scary. Sedge is very scary, and he's gonna get tier 2 soon, and we might see M0h1nder turn it around. Everything is still possible. The game hasn't been decided, I think.
And we're seeing more use of the frog. Frog definitely one of the cooler additions to Wargroove 2. Just yoink spears forward. I love that. I love all the frog plays we've been seeing. There's just so much diversity and flexibility in them. Ooh, we see a big witch hex come out there.
I think this would have killed in Wargroove 1.
I think so as well. Yeah,
the
mage
mage
is,
damage has been nerfed.
yeah, mage damage got nerfed quite heavily in Wargroove 2. Which makes sense. They were very, very good against like basically everything except knights previously, so
Yeah. I'm not sure I like it because mages also die extremely easily. So making them a glass cannon unit was fair. Oh, and tier 2. It's starting.
yep. He can there's a sword in the back there you can pick up as well, so and I think the knights are yep, that was just gonna push those spears into range. Eats a bunch of damage on the knights for it though.
Yeah, but does that open up the harpy? It does open up the harpy. Will it go to low enough? It should. Yeah, mage does crazy damage.
Oh yeah, mage damage against air did not get nerfed. So
Yeah. And against harpy, it does massive damage. So even at 5 HP, it's able to bring it low enough.
we're just
And
gonna
Sedge
see.
is starting to go crazy.
Yep. Is this gonna do enough damage to the? I don't think it will.
Nah, no way.
No, not even close.
Yeah. But now you can see the game is looking kinda not even, I'd say, but close. Because
Mm.
Sedge will keep getting value every turn. But this naval side, I think there's nothing you can do about it.
I mean, eventually archers will clean that up, but that's a big eventually.
Yeah, after the game.
And actually, while all that's going on, the archer, like if he is forcing lots of archer buys back there to defend, then that's a unit that would love to actually be like at the front with Sedge. Like archers combo incredibly well with him.
Ooh, the knight survives.
Ooh, tier 1?
Just for 2 units?
Well, you pick off the witch, that's quite nice actually.
I guess, yeah. A witch kill is always pretty big. I wonder if you could have done more with it though.
Yeah, well actually, I guess the mage is still there, but that's a lot of the anti-air gone now.
And that hex killed something and allowed more kills, so that's a strong hex.
Yep.
Rifles keep getting value. TYMKey has built 2 of them. So that's actually a pretty big attack here.
Yeah, that Caesar groove actually worked out really well. I mean, Caesar sitting on a beach is not really ideal, but I don't think there's enough here to punish. Especially, oh yeah, because killing that witch means the balloon can now wall against everything.
I mean, Sedge can finish it, right? But
yeah, that's true.
yeah, that's interesting. Oh, but here comes the resignation.
Yeah, I think m0h1nder just realizes they're a bit too far behind. That naval push on the left, I think, was...
Yeah, and they shouldn't have lost that army on the right side now. Like, maybe they had a chance, but getting attacked and losing that part of their army kind of sealed it. So that's a smart resignation. Noticing that they just lost their last chance now.
Yeah, but very well played. I had a lot of fun watching that game. It was very much like TYMKey was, I think, in the driver's seat. A lot of that.
Also playing the stronger CEO, right?
Yeah, Caesar definitely a bit stronger. Is Caesar getting nerfed next patch? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think he's getting nerfed a bit.
Okay, but not huge
I don't
nerf.
remember
I think it's
the details.
I think it's like just one of the charges is getting bumped up to like a longer charge.
Yeah, tier 2 I think is going up to very slow and he's still gonna be faster than Sedge.
Yeah, but
he's gonna
I mean, as we saw, Sedge Groove was definitely putting in work even when m0h1nder was behind, so
yeah,
they're both looking very scary still. But I am interested to see how this is going to play out as we go to the newer patches, and yeah, I'm interested to see more matches between these two players. This was
but this was a very strong game by 2 veterans playing a slow strategical game, not many free dudes allowed.
Yeah,
and we saw some big army fights.
very true. But anyway, let's
so
go
it
into
was
the next
really
one.
nice.